Well, I said in the preview that if we won this match, I probably wouldn't have a whole lot to talk about. Clearly, that was wrong. What's up, guys, and welcome to the Blues and Stripes. This is one of those matches where we won, we're through the next round. I'm still pissed. This was embarrassing to watch. The second half display, when we basically ran over them and probably should have had 3 or 4 goals, to be honest, frustrated me even more to know that we strolled around the first half, played like a bunch of little children, got steamrolled by a League One side because nobody wanted to play. And then second half, everybody wants to play, and suddenly we scored 2 goals in 5 minutes. Oh, it's crazy. It's almost like if we tried, we could have run over this team. So I definitely do have a lot of questions of the players, but let's start with the bald fraud himself. Maresca's lineup today was shit. And right off the bat, I'm going to address something that maybe people will consider a conspiracy theory. I don't, because we saw it last season. Acheampong is not sick. I'm willing to bet he said something to Maresca. Maresca got all pissy about it, and now we don't have Acheampong, because they used the same tactic last season. Mudryk was ill, and then all of a sudden we find out, no, he's under investigation. He's not actually sick. Pretty sure they did that with Sancho at one point too, where they said he was ill. And then 3 weeks later, I guess he had finally found his way back into Maresca's good graces. But this is pathetic. You're playing a player as poor as Fofana when you've got a talented young player like Acheampong who's ready and willing to go. I saw he made some comments, I think after the Man U match when people were asking where he was. And he's like, well, it's unfortunate. You know, you've got Tosin, Chalobah, Fofana. No. You've got Tosin, Chalobah, and then Acheampong. Fofana is, like I said in the preview or the review from last week, down here. He's nowhere near the starting 11. Today showed it, and I'll talk about him in a minute. But personally, I think that's what's going on. I think Acheampong has said something to Maresca to piss him off, and now he's not in the team anymore. And that's pathetic, because he's a young player with a lot of talent who probably wants to play, had a decent first showing against Palace in the first game of the season, and now we're seeing more of Fofana than we are of him. That's pathetic managing. It shows a lack of knowledge of quality if he's really choosing Fofana over Acheampong. And it once again shows why Maresca needs to be gone. He's not good enough. Let's talk about the rest of his lineup, though. He goes with Fernandes and Santos in the midfield, which means our midfield is getting run over today. We had no defensive mid in there because Santos and Fernandes both are more on-the-ball, box-to-box type of players. And I even said I didn't expect Caicedo to play the whole match. I think he needs a break. I'm glad he got one today without us losing. But it would have been a lot more comfortable if we were actually playing Caicedo in there, because they would not have had as much joy in the midfield as they did. And then for the front four, for some reason he goes with 2 left wings. Can't explain it. We've got 2 left wings and 2 right wings. And so he'll play the 2 left wings together and then the 2 right wings together. He's an idiot. But everything else was basically what I expected, outside of the fact that Guiu was cup tied. Didn't realize that, so he wasn't available today. But it once again shows why we shouldn't have gotten rid of Jackson to begin with, because he would not be cup tied, and we would have him available to us for this match. But the other thing that's pathetic about it, though, outside of his starting lineup, is once again, the tactics are so dull. We were playing possession-based tactics against a League One side. We had 72% possession at one point with 1 shot. They had 28% with 8 shots. That is not good enough. Change your damn stupid tactics. I don't know how many times it has to happen to us where we're getting outplayed by a team that's basically just packing it in before Maresca finally goes, maybe I'm a dumbass. But it has to happen soon. I'm sick of watching this bullshit. It's so dull. Even in the second half, right before we got the goal, ironically enough, I was furious because we're a minute into the second half. We're still a goal down. Fofana takes 10 touches and goes 10 yards. We are a goal down. How about you do something with the ball? And ironically enough, what does he do with those 10 touches? Nothing. He gives it away nearly. He passes it into Santos, who has a defender right on his back. And through a bunch of happenstance, managed to clear it down the field, and that leads to the first goal. That's not planned. That's lucky as hell. We nearly gave up a goal from that stupidity of him taking 10 touches over probably 15 seconds and going 10 yards with it. I wanted to throw something at the TV. It was so stupid to watch. But also the fact that that style of play, it leads to their goal. We're trying to pass it around the back. Enzo plays a lazy ball, lobbed to one of their players who runs onto it. Boom, goal. That comes because you're trying to pass it around the back. You're trying to keep possession and defense instead of going at the League One side. Just like on the weekend when it was 10v10 against a poor Man U side. We should have gone at them in the second half. We should have taken the game to them, put some pressure on their back line because they tend to make mistakes, and go score some goals. Instead, what do? Pass around the back. Pass around the back. And we wonder why we didn't go win that match or get anything from that match. And this one, Same thing, pass around the back. It's a League One side, pass around the back. So ironically, a win here would not have gained any faith from Maresca from me. The way we won this match has actually made me lose even more faith in him, because he's shown no reaction from Saturday. He came out and tried to do the exact same thing against a League One side and nearly paid for it, nearly got beat. Even in the latter stages of the match, they still had a chance back into it because of the way we were playing. They still had a chance to tie it up. Instead of us going and putting 4 or 5 in the net, putting the game to bed, he still wanted to give him a chance for some reason. Like I said, I'm Maresca out basically until he's gone. I hope he proves me wrong, but in my mind, there's no way he's ever going to be good enough to change my mind. Because to do that, he would have to win multiple competitions. And I know people point, oh, well, he won the Conference League and the Club World Cup. Like I've said before, the Conference League was not something he had to focus on. It was an easy win because of the quality of players we have. And the Club World Cup, he only had to focus on the Club World Cup, nothing else. When he's having to focus on multiple competitions throughout the year, he can't do it. He's not good enough of a manager to do it. I guarantee we're not getting any trophies this year as long as he's in charge. Unless he does some crazy change up and suddenly becomes an amazing manager overnight, we're not going to see any silverware this year. Because as a manager, he is completely devoid of any ideas outside of the one, which is possession out of defense. But let's talk about the players now, because some of these players had a point to prove, and, well, let's just say they proved the opposing point. Jorgensen in goal, not even close to good enough. Again, I said it from last season when we faced Morecambe in the FA Cup. He looked awful in that match. Dropped the ball consistently, didn't look to command his box at all. What did we see today? A lot more of that. Those long throws, the corners that they had, always dangerous because he's not in control of his box. There was one moment in particular that I saw and I'm thinking, how old is this guy? I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be 22 maybe. He looks like he's 13 the way he's playing. He looks scared to be here. Because it was one, I think it was off of a throw. He comes out to punch it, misses it, drops down, manages to bounce around a little bit, pops up to a guy on the back post. And instead of going out there and trying to punch it or just get in his way, he's standing and he does this number as the guy heads the ball. It looked like he was terrified of where that ball was about to go. Like he was leaning back, doing this, instead of anything else, to look confident enough to maybe put the player. He just stood there, and he's really bad about standing there. And then the few times he does come off his line and try to punch or catch, he doesn't do that either. So he's just pathetic. He's an awful keeper. Should have kept Petrovic. I think he's a better option. I think he would have given Sanchez a run for his money. But what do I know? I'm just some guy from America who's watched this sport since I was little, watched Chelsea since I was little. Surely I don't know what I'm talking about. Surely Petrovic and Bournemouth are ahead of us in the table right now. Oh, wait a minute. Into defense, I mean, I can go ahead and sum this up in the first half by saying they were all terrible. But Gusto on the right side, I thought stepped it up in the second half, looked a lot more comfortable, got on the ball, made some stuff happen. I will say, if he shoots from outside or top of the box again, when he has better options, I feel like I'm going to fly over there and I'm going to punch him in the face. My God, you've not scored a goal. You have not scored a goal here. Stop shooting. You're not good at it. Cuts across the top of the box on his weaker foot, on his left foot, and he's got an option. I think it was Santos right next to him. All he's got to do is lay it off to somebody who's a better finisher than he is, but no. He's got to take it on himself, and it's 10 yards wide of the goal. Chalobah in the second half looked a bit better, a little bit more comfortable back there defensively, on the ball as well. I thought moved it pretty well. But Fofana, I do not understand. If we do come to find out that Acheampong wanted more time over Fofana, Maresca said, no, we're going to keep playing Fofana, that right there should get Maresca checked into an insane asylum, because how? I want somebody to do a stats dive for me, because I want to know, did he win a single aerial duel today? I saw several times where he was either second to the ball or he's jumping to challenge the player, but not really. He's kind of doing that little number. He's not really in there to try to win it. I cannot remember a single aerial duel he won today. Could think of a couple of headers, but there was nobody challenging him. He was by himself. But even outside of the aerial duels, I mean, he was pathetic. His passing wasn't good. On the ball, he looked shaky. Nearly gave it away at the very beginning of the match. Thankfully, bounced off of him, went out for a throw-in, which of course, that's not really great for us either. But it was within the first couple minutes, he takes a really bad touch, gets away from him. And I'm just thinking, why is he playing? Why is he out here? He already stunk it up against Man U on the weekend. Why is he here again? Now he's getting shown up and bullied and embarrassed by a League One side. Stop playing him, please. He has not earned that position. He was bad last season before his injury, despite what people think. He's come back and he looks even worse. Stop playing him. Give Acheampong the time that I'm pretty sure he wants. And then Hato on the left side, I thought did okay in the second half. My biggest issue with him is he's got to learn to be a bit more brave. I know he's young, but one of the things that Cucurella does so well is when he gets on the ball, he's willing to keep our attack going. Almost every time Hato got on the ball, it was turn around and go backwards. And under not that much pressure either. If there was a player bearing down on him, I could understand it. But he'd pick up the ball, there's about 5 yards, maybe even 10, in between him and the next player. Drive or cross, do something with it. But almost every time it was do a little step over, turn around, go back to our defense, and now all of a sudden we're keeping possession in our back line again. And whether that's him or whether that's Maresca's instruction, I don't know, but it was pretty disappointing, especially considering that when he's on the ball, he does look pretty comfortable. But maybe that's just a confidence thing, and we'll see that improve as we continue to see more of him. Into the midfield, Santos and Fernandez were both pretty poor throughout the match. Fernandez, I will say, needs to be benched because he looked pathetic today. Santos at least stepped it up a bit in the second half and had a couple of good moments in the first half. Fernandez was just useless in there. He wasn't giving us anything as far as creativity on the ball. He sets up the goal with that terrible decision to lob a cross short to Chalaba. And then what's crazy about it is he basically plays the same ball maybe 5 minutes into the second half. Like I see him looking across the field to Chalaba and just a nice little lob. This one actually gets to him. But still, now Chalaba is under pressure. He has to take a touch and quickly play it because there's a player bearing down on him. I'm thinking, why are we doing this again? We just got back into the game. We just scored 2. And Fernandez is really just going to do that again? So let me do a little nice chip across. What a dumbass. Into the front four, first of all, Buonanotte. Terrible first half. Second half turned it on a little bit more. And I'm really glad too because, I mean, after the Brentford match, like I said, he wasn't great, but I thought he was solid. I wanted him to step up a little bit and show maybe some quality that could give us a replacement for Palmer whenever he's, as we see now, injured. But then the first half of this match, I'm thinking, well, never mind. That's not going to happen. But second half, I do think he put in a decent argument to say that he is the guy that can step up and take that spot when Palmer's not there. And his goal was very well taken too, so it's good to see. Gittins, again, not much from him, to be perfectly honest. He got on the ball a couple of times, tried to take on players, and did a little bit better than we saw in past couple matches he's featured, but still nowhere near what we saw him in preseason. So I don't know what happened to that Gittins. I don't know if they did like a body swap with him and Sancho, but yeah, he looks pretty pathetic. And then Garnacho. This one pisses me off, because I called it. I didn't want him here, and this is why. He's not good enough. The only thing he had going for him was he was a talented player, but I didn't want his attitude. I didn't want his work rate. I didn't want any of that. Well, guess what? That talent, we're not seeing it. So now I have no reason to see him at all. And it's just so nice to know that we wasted the Madueke money on him. It's basically like we played a prank on Arsenal. Everybody's laughing at him. Ha ha ha. They got you. You paid $50 million for Madueke. And then Man U came in and played the exact same prank on us, and we fell for it. Selling an overrated player for $50 million. And now we go and we buy Garnacho for, what was it, $55 million? As is going to be in the thumbnail. It's not just Maresca out. It's Winstanley and Stewart too. They're idiots. Their transfer team is stupid. Not going after anybody with experience. Going after Garnacho when there are other good options that we could have gone and gotten. And now we're stuck with this overrated piece of shit. It's all about his appearance, all about how good he is. And he's not even that good. Can't even do anything against the League One side. Get him out of the club. This was a horrible, horrible waste of money. And then George up top, not his natural position, definitely looked uncomfortable throughout a lot of the match, but good finish to equalize, so I'd give him a 7 based on today. It's a decent performance based on the fact that he's not actually a striker. But one thing I will say before I get into the subs is I was glad to at least see a couple of the players like George and Buonanotte step up. Because something that I thought about recording at halftime, but then I decided against it because I wasn't sure how much of it I would actually be able to use, since I try to keep this channel as family friendly as possible. But I did believe we were still going to win this match. In my mind, though, it was going to be when Maresca brought on some of the starters like Neto, like Caicedo, like Estevao. I thought that's when the game was going to change and we were going to go on and win it. So it was nice to see that a couple of the starting lineup did step up in the second half and showed a bit of quality. But getting into the subs, first of all, Estevao comes on for Garnacho and immediately looks much better. Gets on the ball, takes on a couple players, created more in probably 10 minutes than Garnacho did for his entire time here at Chelsea so far. And then Neto came on with Cucurella, and I think Mueca came on at that time as well. Neto had a couple of moments I think he could have done better on, especially knowing his quality. But overall, his work rate was very much needed in that second half. It did relieve a lot of the pressure that we were being put under whenever he could get on the ball and run at players or take a bit of pressure off by causing them to have to go long with it because he's putting pressure on the ball that Gittins and Garnacho were not really doing much of. Cucurella provided a little bit of stability in the midfield because he's a hard worker who wins the ball back. So I did think that was one good decision from Maresca. Give Caicedo a chance to rest by putting in your fullback who can play in that position. And I do think we stopped losing the battle in the midfield after that point. Because with Santos and Cucurella in there, I think that's a lot stronger. So a lot of Lincoln's best chances now are having to come with long balls over the top, trying to challenge Fofana in the air, which they were winning most of. But for the first half and for most of the second half, they were able to play through our midfield very easily. That dried up once Cucurella came on. And then Moeka, I was hoping to see a bit more from him. I think he did work hard. He had a couple of decent moments. I know he's a very talented young player, and he's one that I think is getting pretty close to the first team picture. So especially since Guiu's not going to be available for this tournament, might be a good idea to keep him around the first team because I think he's more natural striker than George is. So while George is, I think, closer to the first team level as far as just overall quality of player, I think Moeka is getting better, is getting closer, and because he is actually more of a striker, I think maybe in a couple months we might see him being utilized there in the Carabao Cup, assuming we make it that far. And then the last sub was just a time waster with Walsh, so nothing really from him. But overall, like I said, I'm not happy with the performance. The result I'm fine with. I mean, it's expected. It's what we should be doing. We should be beating a League One side. But the performance was pathetic. Maresca showed no new ideas. Basically came out and did the exact same thing we did against Man U on the weekend, so it's just not good enough. So we'll see what the weekend brings, but until that time, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game today? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea previews, reviews, and talks, and until next time, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.